Hey everybody, it is I, Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, making another video for you out of Boise, Idaho. Right now I'm doing a pretty difficult diagnosis. It's on this 2004 Saturn Vue. It is a common problem on the Saturn Vue. The biggest complaints that have come in is that it intermittently will not start. So nobody can necessarily pinpoint it down or anything like that. They just know that at certain times during the day, during the week, it won't start. It's gotten worse and worse and worse. And they've also had to wait longer periods of time in between no start issues. So in other words, the vehicle won't start. If they wait an hour or two, all of a sudden it'll start. That time period has gotten longer. Now, from what I understand, they've had it at the dealership and altogether have spent $1,600 between replacing a electronic control module, a crankshaft position sensor, and whatever other work the dealer and the shop has done. I found this person on Craigslist, and if you've been following my YouTube, you'll know that a year ago I vowed never to work on Saturn Vues. That's because they're just a pain in the butt to work on. I worked on Saturn for, well, shoot, I've worked on Saturn for 20 years now. So I really don't like the Vue. I don't like the way these cars are put together either. Anyways, I found these people on Craigslist. It looked like they had already been in for a run for their money. So I thought I'd offer my services and help them out. The most important thing during this diagnosis is that the customer told me that when the car won't start, the gas gauge doesn't work either. Okay? And they told me that you can always tell when the car's not going to start because the gas gauge won't work. All right? Right now, the car will start. And so whenever I get something in like this where people are claiming that they've already spent a ton of money, nobody can figure it out, I follow a very, very strict process and procedure of diagnosis. I build data trees. I go through the whole 9 yards. I figure out everything that I can on the vehicle. I understand the systems, how they work, how the electricity flows, the software, who makes the software, who makes the computers, all that stuff. For Saturn, Motorola is who engineers and makes the computers. It's not GM engineering or software. It's Motorola's engineering or software that's in here. So this vehicle has two computers. It has an electronic control module and it has a body control module. The electronic control module controls things like ignition, spark, timing, all that stuff. The body control module, or the BCM, which sits inside of the vehicle, controls things like the gas gauge, instrument clusters, power windows, power locks, all that type of stuff. All right. And now remember, they had complained that when the vehicle doesn't start, the gas gauge won't work, and that they can always tell when it's not going to start. Well, just from the knowledge and experience I have, the first thing that I thought we should take a look at is the body control module. Now, the body control module on a Saturn sits underneath the radio in a bracket back here, which I've got it currently out because I'm working on it. So it sits back here. In order to get to it, you need to remove your power window switches and units. So the plastic bracket for that just pops off. And then you're going to go inside of here and you're going to have 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. So you'll have 4 areas, 1, 2, 3, and 4 for your seat heaters. And you're going to pull that off, and then you'll be able to slide your body control module out. Now, these things, if you ask me, are poorly put together. So the most important thing that I want to try to do, since I know the body control module controls things like my dashboard and whatnot, is I want to try to duplicate my no start issue. So I'm going to pull the proper connector, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can duplicate my no start issue, starting with the gas gauge not working. Oh, look at that. My gas gauge is not working, and the other gauge that is not working that I'm sure people didn't realize is the temperature gauge. As a matter of fact, this whole instrument cluster is not working correctly when I unplugged that connector. Now let's see if we can reproduce our no start issue. Look at that. No start. So again, no start, no gas gauge, no start. Now what happens if we plug our BCM back in? Can we fix the issue? Look, our gas gauge now works. Our temperature gauge is working. And our car starts. So longer story short, that automatically tells me we have an issue with this BCM, okay? Now the question for me ultimately is, where is the issue at? Is the issue in the BCM itself, or is the issue in one of the wiring harnesses? Is it one of the wiring harnesses that is not providing power to our BCM? Do we have a short in our system? Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to open this BCM up, okay? And I want to make sure that everything looks good in here so that I know that all my electricity, all my software, everything in here is working correctly. After that, I will then start checking my wiring harnesses and all that other stuff. However, just so you know, I've already been in here and I know what we're going to find. I already know that the motherboard on this BCM is no good, okay? And I'll show you the signs of that. So let's go ahead and get this guy open and let's take a peek at our motherboard. Alright, so we've got our motherboard here, and you can already see, let's see if we can get out into the sunlight here. Okay, you can already see on the motherboard, if you look by my finger, that's warpage. Okay, that's indication that this motherboard has been hot. Look at the top of that capacitor. Okay, you see those wrinkles? And as a matter of fact, the motherboard itself, the coating on the motherboard itself, see if I can get you in a different light, has some of that. You see? Right there. It's obvious the motherboard has gotten hot. Right there you can see it's gotten hot. All the way around. This whole motherboard has signs of warpage, and then if you flip it over where my finger is, you can see burnouts on it. Okay, so this motherboard has signs of warpage and burnouts, and I'm going to tell you right now, this body control module is obviously no good. So I'm going to do a little bit more research. I'm going to look into getting this replaced, and as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and call it. It's obvious that we have an issue with our body control module, and that is what needs to be replaced. Okay, so hopefully this video will make somebody happy. Body control modules are not that expensive, and they're pretty easy to replace. I do believe though you may have to have the dealership reprogram them. I'm gonna look for a company to see if they'll rebuild it and reprogram it for me, if it can be done off of the vehicle. All right, everybody. Well, this is Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, signing off.